Some of Beirut's hospitals have been so badly damaged, they simply cannot accept patients, while those that can are overrun with injured victims pouring in by the thousands. This was the scene inside St. George Hospital, one of the city's largest medical centers. Lebanon's health minister now warns the recovery effort will bring an increased risk of coronavirus exposure. Dr. Peter Noun is the chairman of pediatric oncology at Beirut St. George Hospital. He joins us live now. So we just saw images inside your hospital. Entire wards have been destroyed. I understand that you've lost colleagues as well. Just set the scene. I mean, where does the hospital go from here? And how are patients who are already inside the hospital at the time of the blast, where are they? How are they doing?
Hi. The hospital was full. The capacity of the hospital is around 320 patients. But at 6 p.m., many had left after surgeries or something. But I am the chairman of the pediatric hematology oncology, and we had many cancer patients in the floor. We are in the 9th floor of the hospital, the last floor, the upper floor, and we are just in front of the port. So the port is just in front of the hospital. So the parents had seen like a fire, and then the explosion happened. Many of parents and kids go to the windows to see more what's happening. For this reason, they are much wounded.
Oh, my goodness.
One parent who had a child with lymphoma is dead, unfortunately. We were today in his funeral. He came back from Africa last week when he knew about the cancer of his daughter. So unfortunately, he came to support her, but she saw him dying. It's a disaster. No support, nothing can give us hope now. All the children left the hospital. Many parents and the nurses and the helped the children and all the patients in the hospital to leave. It was so difficult because the lifts were broken and stopped. So many injured patients and parents and visitors even had to go by the stairs. And those who are really very much wounded, it was so difficult for them. So really, it was a nightmare. Till now, my patients and their parents are telling how difficult it was. They left, all of them. Now the hospital is completely destroyed. All the floors are destroyed. And the big problem is the pediatric oncology floor, as I said, is completely destroyed. And these patients cannot stay without treatment. And as you see, we have to stop treatment because we have no floor. I'm trying to dispatch the patients to other hospitals, but it's not that easy because all the hospitals have plenty of wounded and injured and dead people. So, all the hospitals are full. So we have 100 patients with cancer. So 100 patients to dispatch is really very difficult. So now...
What you're describing, I mean, Dr. Noun, what you're describing is beyond heartbreaking. I mean, it is gut-wrenching. There are no words. I'm listening to this, and just in terms of asking you another question, I don't even know where to begin. It's just made me so emotional just hearing your story. How do you even begin for those children in your hospital who are, receiving chemotherapy, perhaps radiation treatment? How do you begin to explain to them what has just happened?
Some of them are asking. Some didn't want even to talk about this because I don't know, they don't want even to remember, or it's inside them and they don't want to tell. But I want them to explain and to talk, because if they do not explain what's going on in their mind, it will be very difficult. And I think it will be very difficult when the hospital will be functional again, and when the patients and parents will come back. I think many figures and many photos and many souvenirs will come back, and this will be horrible for these patients and their parents. So really we have talk with them, to see psychological support, to see psychologists and psychiatrists to support them, because really it was difficult, very difficult, specifically for those. And I'm talking about this girl who lost her father, and another girl also who saw her father on the ground and wounded and the blood everywhere. So I don't know how they will accept to come back to the hospital. Really, your question is very important. And now I don't have any answer, because the biggest challenge I have now is I need a place to give chemotherapy to these patients. I don't have a place to give them chemotherapy. And without chemotherapy, they can relapse, they can stop responding to treatment. And as you know, chemotherapy and cancer patients in pediatrics, they respond in more than 80% of the cases. So it's a very curable disease in children. And now if we lost treatment, it will be very challenging and very difficult.
Right. So, gosh, you know, on the one hand, there's the emotional trauma that you talk about, but then there's the very real practical element of, without chemotherapy, how do you make sure that the cancer doesn't end up coming back or getting worse for a lot of these children? So I'm sure a lot of our viewers who are watching this right now are heartbroken, as am I, and they are certainly moved to help. What can people watching around the world do to help in any way? Is there anything that we can give you? Is there any way in which we can assist?
Yeah, thank you for this. We need help. We need support. Our hospital, St. George Hospital, is completely destroyed. I have also another center in Lebanese hospital just near the St. George Hospital, which is also destroyed. There is a pediatric cancer center, which is destroyed because also it's in front of the port. So all these patients, we have around 150 patients between these two centers. And those patients were supported by an NGO who is called Kids First Association. So those who want to help, they can go to Kids First Association on website, on or Instagram, Facebook, and they can support. Or also they can support via via St. George Hospital, University Medical Center in Beirut. All of these patients are in a big need. Sometimes emotional or financial, even medication. We had a lot of medications who are lost now in the pharmacy due to the explosion. Mm-hmm. So many medications, you know, chemotherapy is very expensive. So we lost a lot of chemotherapy, and this is so bad.
Okay, I just want to recap for our audience. So you're saying it's Kids First Association is how they can help. But you heard Dr. Noun there. St. George Hospital, they're overlooking the port, 9th floor. They treat a lot of children who have cancer, chemotherapy, and it was absolutely devastating. We showed you images of what that hospital looked like. A lot of those children aren't able to receive their chemotherapy right now. Dr. Noun, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.